Howdy, folks. I'm Jeff Gonzalez, former Navy SEAL, president of Trident Concepts, and host of the Bulletproof Workshop, powered by AR15.com, where we discuss knowledge, skills, and ability to help bulletproof your everyday performance in whatever your field or passion. Welcome to Podcast 014. My next guest is a fellow Frogman, and first to be on the show, by the way.
Boom.
Yeah. He put in his time downrange doing what he does best. After leaving the service, he parlayed his unique talents for motivation into successful enterprise. He's been a star on several hit reality shows. The secret to his success, his brutal honesty, taking his hardships and lessons learned to help those in need. He's an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, movie star. Got to throw that in there. Father and fellow Frogman. Please welcome to the show, Ray Care.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
No. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
No. Thank you. But speaking of time, let's take a short break here to thank our sponsors. Folks, this show is sponsored by 1776 Insurance. We're talking about comprehensive firearms collection coverage. That also includes your accessories as well as knives. If you've got questions or you want to learn more, please visit 1776insurance.com. Make that long, awkward eye contact. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're back on. All right. First of all, it's great to have you on the show. I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to this for a while, man. This is going to be one of the ones that I really enjoy. I like to start off on, like, you have created your own success through all of your hardships, through all of those lessons learned and failures, but it had to start somewhere. So let's start, like, where you grew up and childhood and how that started the molding process to put you in the position that you are in right now.
Okay, so Ray Cash Care, I'm a half a decade old, which makes me 50, or half a lifetime
Spring
old,
chicken.
if you will. Baltimore native, grew up in a dysfunctional home. So you want to know where it all stems from? It stems from that. Parents were divorced at a very young age. Truth be told, my name is actually Raymond Care III, not the junior. My brother died a crib death on 9/11, 1970. So I can actually go and see my name on a gravestone. It's creepy. I did it once. I won't do it again.
Oh my God, that is weird.
It is weird. It's creepy. I actually took my wife, and she was just like, "Yeah, let's not do this again."
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah.
But I think some of the greatest successors and successor-us, because I gotta be politically correct. Sorry, I don't know what the proper word for that is. Is a lot of it
wrong.
stems from pain.
Yes.
So I had a very painful childhood, and before I tell you about the different pains that I've suffered, what I've done, I've paired up with Bedros Keuilian, one of my mentors, my friends, my boss, my whatever, my yin to my yang, is I have learned how to profit from pain. That's it. So, in the teams, we always have equations for shit, right? We have acronyms. So for me, and some people agree, some don't, but pain equals growth, growth equals power, power equals knowledge, and knowledge equals profit. I have learned.
Let's say that again, but slower.
Pain equals growth.
Like it.
Growth equals knowledge.
Okay.
Knowledge equals power. Power equals profit.
That is awesome.
So all I've done is taken hardship, stuck it into the grinder, if you will, and I have produced positive energy. So instead of, case in point, I had a bad childhood. I got addicted to drinking, drugs, and fighting. Instead of taking the easy road, which would have been jail or death, I decided to join the Navy. And I didn't have a lot of options. I mean, Frogman, I fucking didn't have a lot of options. I was pretty much voluntold I need to join the military, but truth be told, I'm not super book smart. I'm a kind of like hands-on guy, right? I've told you I want to stick my hand in your bowl here.
In my nuts.
In my nuts. But took the ASVAB and bombed it. I mean, when I say bombed it, I just murdered it.
Did they come over and check you for a pulse?
Literally, I could have been, and this is what was horrible. I could have been a cook in the Navy, a medic in the Navy, or literally I was going Marine or Army. I didn't want to go Marine or Army, and I have nothing bad to say about any other force there is. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Because when I went into the recruiter, I saw this pamphlet because we didn't have these things called cell phones and internet when we were young.
Right.
Because you're like 100 years older than me, and I'm 50. But what? Just came. But I saw this pamphlet on Navy SEALs.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
And it was like they were bigger than life, and it was this and that. And I literally looked at the recruiter and I said, and he was a shitty salesman. I said, this is what I want to do. And he said, you don't have the aptitude to do any of that. So I literally said, well, what would I need to do to become this?
Nice.
And he told me, listen, the odds are stacked against you. And I said, listen, the odds have been stacked against me since the day I was born.
Right.
What do I need to fucking do to go there and give it a shot? And he told me. And what it took was I had to go to the regular Navy, which I did. I went undesignated, so I was a boatswain mate, right? I was a deck ape. I went to Great Lakes, and I'm going to tell you a story about something that's one of my biggest, monuments that have happened to me since then. Remind me to tell you that. But I went to neutral duty. So everybody went sea duty or shore duty. I went neutral duty. I'd go out on a boat during the day and come back.
Huh.
So I figured out real quick that the regular Navy was really fucking easy. All you had to do was show up early, do what you were told, and keep your uniform squared away.
That's it. That's not a lie.
And the cream will rise to the top.
Yeah.
And I was that guy that did it. I had to, and then I studied. I had to wait a year. No, it was 6 months. I had to wait 6 months to retake my ASVAB. I took it again, and I studied. Like I met a gentleman by the name of YN1 Conklin. I always give him credit. Love you, brother. And he gave me like the ASVAB books to study, and I started doing some stuff. But it was all internal. As God is my witness on my trident, I took it again and missed a collective score. The mathematics, 1 point shy.
Holy cow!
So talk about a kick to the balls. I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, my world's over, because I wasn't chasing ass. I wasn't doing, I was really focused.
Yeah.
Everybody told me to give up on my dreams. My own mother, everybody. They're just like, it's not in the cards, not in the cards. And the one thing I have to give Bedros Keuilian credit for is, for 45 years of my life, because of the pain and the suffering, I have done everything to prove people wrong.
Right.
When I met Bedros, and Bedros, when I met him, he said, my dude, he talks to me, he's big giant paw in his hand, and he goes, you're doing it wrong. And I said, I understand, sir. He goes, stop doing shit to prove people wrong and start doing things to prove yourself right. Know your self-worth. Stop self-sabotaging, right?
So true, man.
People that have past and pain do that. And I was like, fuck, man. It was like a light switch came on. Like, where the fuck were you 25 years ago, sir?
Right?
And he's like, I've been waiting for you and you've been waiting for me. So I got to give a big shout out to him. So back to the ASVAB, I'm sitting there in front of this guy, and literally, I'm a grown-ass man, like 20 years old, like in tears. Fucking just devastated. And he looked at me and he goes, what do you want to do? And I sat there for a minute, and I didn't know, and I said, I need help. And he says, thank you. So let me help you. So he enrolled me in classes and, and tutored me. Like, he didn't have to do this. So, like, I would get up in the morning, and I would, I'd train at 5:30 in the morning. Work would start like 8 or whatever. I would do that, and then I was taking night classes.
Wow.
And I did this. So now, after the 6 months, I had to wait 1 year.
Ooh.
So it's 1 year doing this. I got accepted into the dive program, so I was like a mud pup. So I helped with the hyperbaric chamber timekeeper, the shit. And I literally was just a glutton for punishment. Like, my job was to just do all the dirty work. And, and they were teaching me and, earning your keep. So sure enough, year comes around. I take the test again. And Jeff, I've known you for a long time. I'm standing in front of him. I can't remember what I had for breakfast 2 weeks ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday. He's sitting there and he's reading, and I'm standing at attention. I'm a fucking E2. E1, I don't know, E2.
Yeah.
And he's at, E6, Petty Officer First Class. And I'm sweating, man, like I fucking stole something. And he says, I think it was, just Seaman Apprentice. It was Care, because I had no rank. Care, how do you think you did? And I said, I don't know. And it was just a pause, and he goes, well, you passed.
Oh!
Right? He didn't even break what he was doing. And he says, do you have any questions for me? And I said, yes, I do. And he looked up at me, and this is what he said. He goes, I know what you're going to ask me, what your score was. And I said, yes. He goes, and I swear to God, this is one of the most impactful things I've ever heard. He goes, son, it doesn't matter what your score was. It matters what you're going to do with the score that you got. To this day, I probably fucking just passed it with the minimum, but it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah,
And I took that advice and applied it to everything I do. Like, perfect example, I'm not talented at anything. We're sitting here at your studio. You've got some world-class athletes over there.
Yeah.
and they will literally destroy me.
Yeah.
But they'll know I was there because I've got heart.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's a problem with society today is nobody has the fucking heart and the grit and the determination, the drive. And I can look across, and I know you got it, man, because I know what you've gone through. But and listen, I'm an equal opportunist. Men and he, she, shims, I don't give a fuck what you are. A lot of people just feel like they're entitled because they've had pain. And man, I'm going to tell you what, I am not a subject matter expert at growth. I'm a subject matter of pain because there are 7 forms of pain that I feel a human being goes through in this life. I know Mr. Robbins has like 21 avenues, but I have 7. I have 6 forms of growth, 7 forms of pain. Let's do the growth first. Physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and financial. My growth. Now watch this, my pain. Physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and financial. Wow, that sounds fucking familiar.
Yeah.
But then sexual. So 1 out of every 4, that's why I'm so passionate about these programs I run with Bedros. 1 out of every 4 men in America have been inappropriately touched or molested. Just so happens I'm fucking one of them.
Oh, wow.
I'm not embarrassed to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not a horrible story, but I was physically abused. And what I have done, my phone just vibrated, my nuts, Joe, it felt awesome. And what I have done, and it's Bedros of all people.
Fuck.
And what I have done is just realize that, number one, I can't change the past, right?
Exactly.
I can't.
No.
That's a demon, a toxic cognition. But what I can do is I can name, claim, and tame that motherfucker, and show it respect, right? Like there are certain places I won't drive, or certain places I won't go, because it will trigger that mechanism of me being a child and the fear and the pain that I was in. So instead of like, you're a Navy SEAL, attack it. There are certain things that you're just not going to win. So I just, there's things that I will go through, things I will go over, but there's certain things I will go around. Why Bedros Keuilian is why I keep talking about him so much, and he's so instrumental in my life, is he's teaching me that you don't have to fucking fight everything to beat everything, right?
Yeah.
Use your mind, just like we did in Buds, right?
Yeah.
And I think it all stems, like my success, you said it stems from pain.
Yeah.
Most people, they avoid it. They make excuses for it. They bitch, they moan, they whine. I accept it. It happened.
Yeah.
And I know, you haven't had the best life either, but it's not, like I said, I don't judge a man on what he's done, or it's what he's doing and what he's going to do, right? Like, I have friends that serve time in prison for doing things. Wes Watson's one of my very good friends. Okay, he made some stupid mistakes. Now he's making a difference. He's making an impact. So I think the world needs to accept more pain, but learn how to control it and fucking harness it and turn it into like positive energy. And that's why I get the privilege of sitting in, these cool fucking studios, traveling around America, doing cool stuff like this, because I want people to know that if you've had shit in your life, you're not alone, and you don't have to be a fucking victim.
It's so funny. It's not funny, but to hear you comment about some of this stuff it should help people or force people to reflect on themselves. Yeah. And I think one of the things, and I learned this long ago, is like you can go through some really shitty things, and you can't control that. It is what it is. Yeah. Whatever happened. The loss of a family member, financial foreclosure, or just what life throwing you a really shitty deck of deck of cards, whatever. You can't control any of that, but you can control how you react to it. And that was something that I learned, because I used to be just full of piss and vinegar. I still am a little bit, but
you still got a little sassy brass.
It comes out. But I mean, back in the day, man, shit, just always. And because every little thing would piss me off, and it took some time before somebody kind of like sat me down and was like, hey, you can get, that shit sucks. Yeah, you got passed up. You didn't get this. You didn't do that. Whatever the case might be, that's behind you. How you're gonna, how you react to it right now is something you can control. Can't control that anymore. Got to let it happen. Got to go with it. But you can choose.
Yeah.
How to react.
That's the word.
At the moment. And that has been a big, and you see, it sounds so simple. You can choose how to react. I mean, it's that simple, but it's not that easy.
And I agree. And the one thing that I agree with is, we're a little older. Warriors evolve, right? We change. And the one thing that I love about that is that we change at different speeds, and I'm definitely a lot more calmer than before. Man, I just, I was known for being a hothead, but I evolve. And I think the true evolution of a man, of a warrior, of a woman, of a female warrior is you have to evolve and you have to allow it to happen. But pain is part of that evolution,
so
right? So all of the emotions that we go through. And that's what's so amazing about what we do, because we have people like Bedros Keuilian and Andy. We just had this conversation, and the Sean Whalens, and you always hear them. We're in the business of building motherfuckers, up. I'm in the business of breaking motherfuckers down. That's right. So I tell people like that, you guys can't do what you do without motherfuckers like me in the trenches.
It's true.
Same thing with you. I mean, you're on the range. You're breaking men down, bad habits, 7 points of performance. I was an instructor at the farm, and reprogramming them to do shit right.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
We have a gift.
Yeah.
It's easy to teach people how to do something once we've done all the,
I've learned all of the mistakes.
Exactly. So you don't go to sniper school without learning the basic marksmanships of here's a pistol, 7 grip stance, doing all that.
Yeah.
Understand the 4 safety, everything that you need to know.
Yeah.
Then once they become proficient on the range, it's like, okay, let's move you to an AR platform. Now they're dialed in with that. Let's go farther and farther.
Yeah, it's
right?
true.
So, but it's motherfuckers like us that are in the mud and in the blood that are doing this. And you don't even have to be on the battlefield overseas. It can be with work. We are taking people, and that's what I do. That's what I love. Why I want to get on here. You teach people the fundamentals. You also teach advanced. I know you can do. I know you can do all the fancy stuff too. But our true warrior has a vast spectrum of knowledge to teach the basic. Right, the young warrior to the old warrior, or even. Hey, old warrior, you haven't been doing it right. And that's what Bedros did to me. You haven't been doing it right. Yeah. And a true warrior, I accept constructive criticism if it's given to me in a positive manner, right? Don't embarrass me,
Yeah.
And
Well, it's funny, too, because you said something just a second ago about, teaching the basics and then there's the advanced. And it just got me thinking real quick, because there was a time when all I did was work with, like the advanced side, the special operations community, both in law enforcement and military. And I loved it. It was awesome. But I shifted my focus to a newer shooter, the beginners. Mm-hmm. And I tell this to a lot of people that it is harder to work with a beginner than it is to work with an advanced element, whatever that is. Pick your poison. Learning the piano, shooting a gun. Somebody that has a little bit or is an advanced, elevated their game versus somebody that is starting out. Teaching somebody that's starting out, working with them in that sense has taught me more about being an instructor than working with all our guys.
And it pushes you more as an instructor too. I had a woman at the 3-yard line who was shooting a silhouette, and she was shooting at the ground, and she was a CIS-4 for the agency, and I was like, just fucking throw your gun at it, right? So, but what she was doing, right, mashing down the trigger. So, especially with females, you know how it is. You're not supposed to have after-hour relationships, but she was old as piss. And so what I did is I sat her down with her red gun, and I sat her down in front of a table, and I put some books on it about this high.
Yeah.
Put a thumbtack right down there.
Oh, nice.
I said, mash on that trigger. Boom, ow.
Oh,
she came by the next day. She looked like fucking Cagney Lacey.
Oh, I love it. That's a great one.
But here's the thing. When you're teaching advanced, right? Advanced explosive, dynamic room entries. If you're teaching, basic stuff, advanced stuff that you're doing, right? Sometimes that falls into the way because you already assume they know that. But when you teach someone new, I love teaching new people, especially when you see the light come on or the growth start. It's so 100%. Fucking rewarding.
100%. I thought I was in this business to work at that upper echelon. I thought I was. And it took me getting a chance to work with newer shooters and seeing that exact expression or hearing a comment or them calling me or emailing me later to explain something. And there's no, I've had plenty of the soft guys that have called me up or emailed me and said, hey, dude, what you showed me saved my life, saved my team's life. And that's super rewarding. when you have somebody that is, in a difficult spot, single mom, maybe they've got challenges in their environment, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
And they come back at you and they tell you that they feel comfortable, confident, empowered, that they can take control of their lives and move in a positive direction. I'm like, wow. Okay,
that's what it's about.
It is. It truly is. And that's a hard, like the first time that happened to me, I was like, I didn't know how to not acknowledge it, but I didn't know how to respond to it.
Yeah, embrace it. It's tough, man.
It really is, because you realize, holy shit, okay. And that's one of the things that I have valued so much about my position is that there's a lot of people that are putting themselves in a vulnerable situation by coming and training with me. And I always treat that delicately. I always treat that with the respect that it deserves, because I get one chance at trying to help them. If I screw it up, that's it.
Now, on the flip side of that, there's been a couple times I've trained some people where
don't get me wrong. I've had my fair share. That's true. I've had my fair share. So you came from a troubled childhood.
Yes.
And that puts you on the path to failing your ASVAB twice, passing it with the understanding. I really love the way that guy approached that. It doesn't matter what your score was. What matters is what you do with it.
And
now.
you know me, I'm not smart enough to make something that cool up, right? So
no,
that's not like something.
I
was like, how can I say something cool to fucking
I
podcast?
need to make this, dramatic. No, but that right there is incredibly significant, because he shifted your focus away from something that didn't matter anymore to something that does matter.
Yep.
And that to me is like, I had that, if you that's the thing. It's like trying to stay focused on what matters. And that's a hard thing for me a lot of times, because I'm like, squirrel, and I'm gone, but it takes a lot of discipline for me to stay focused on things. And that, like, focusing you in the right new direction. Okay, so you made the grade. Don't worry about it. Now focus on the next chapter of your life, which is getting orders to buds.
And it took me years and years, because I always wanted to know that score. Till I finally, like I said, I evolved, I matured, where he's right. It's like the score doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that showed up with Bud's Class 200 and graduated with Bud's Class 200. And I honestly think...
That was the easy class, right? That was an easy class.
Yes, 155. I'm 100. It's just so you guys know, this guy joined the fucking Navy when he was 12, okay? He's like 5 years or 4 years older than me, and he went to Bud's like 20 years before me. Doesn't make sense. I'm kidding. Sorry. That's an inside joke for all you frogmen out there.
Yeah.
It took me so long to understand that, and it's happened a few times in my life, like Bedros Keuilian hiring me.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I wasn't the only SEAL that he interviewed.
Oh.
But somehow I got the fucking job, and I asked him what put me what put me, in your good graces. He's like, it's because I know what you're gonna do. Because I will. I outwork. When you don't have talent, all you have is hard work.
That's
and
baby.
He said it to me, because you have no fucking talent. But you are loyal and you are hardworking, and
I
you're
can work
honest.
with that.
And that's
power.
because I break down, we do a lot of our programs, and I break down the word team: trust, effort, attitude, mission. It's not together everybody accomplishes more. You put 100 blind men in a room and we put a thumbtack up there, and they're not going to find it.
Yeah.
But trust the process, trust in yourself, trust in your brothers, effort. I don't believe in 100%. I believe in everything you have and then more. 100%. I hate that. I hate people capping out numbers. Give me 100%.
Yeah. What
and
does
now
that really
you hear
mean?
the bullshit. Give me 110%. Give me everything you got and give me more.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that.
One of the things I love that Goggins says, and I agree with him, is I think we run on 60 or 40%, and we have so much. The fuel is only gone when you're dead. I honestly believe that, right?
I agree.
And then attitude. I honestly got hired. Bedros told me, you get hired because of your effort and your attitude, because nothing will open or close a door faster in any form of fashion of your life than a good or bad attitude. And mission is the 6 forms of growth: physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and financial. But I did tell Bedros in my interview, we had a lot in common with our childhoods, but I told him, I'm not the biggest, the fastest, the strongest. I'm not going to make you the most money. He went, whoa, stop. He's like, I know you work for Bob Pittman, founder of MTV, but that shit ain't going to work with me. I said, but no one will outwork me. No one will be more loyal. And I swear to God, I told him, and I will bring the lime and the shovel, no fucking questions asked. And Bedros, he reached over with that big palm and said, "You're hired."
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's
and then
awesome.
I was like, "Now what? Now what?" He goes, "Now we're going to make an impact in the world." And that was about 3.5 years ago. And I mean,
that's awesome.
I fucking love it. But same thing with him. He's a gazillionaire entrepreneur who's come from a lot of pain. And he's like, listen, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. I mean, I'm not doing it as fast as I can. I did have Tim Kennedy just make me a cup of this coffee.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. Well, he also opened my Topo Chico, so,
Yeah, Tim Kennedy is my bitch. No, I'm kidding. Oh, God, I'm going to die. Cut that out. God, Tim will kill me. I'm actually at his facility. I'm going to die. Just kidding, Tim. You're my friend.
Okay, so how was your experience at Bud's?
I fucking loved it. I fucking loved it. I mean, Hell Week sucked because I was in the Smurf crew, and I had Redmond, Jamie Monroe, who were 2 turds, and I absolutely love them, and 3 fucking Singaporeans that were useless as a third nipple. And they used to, here you go, Fong, NG, and like Woong, or whatever the name was. And what they used to do is they used to act like they didn't speak English. Like when we like dump it,
they can't get to America. They can't.
I do not understand. And then as soon as they leave, they're like, we showed those bitches. I was like, so true story here. One time I still think Redmond was the senior man. This is when he was enlisted. But we had to do the dump boat drill.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So it's freezing, it's like February, and people don't think California's cold. Suck my balls, it is. So we're the shortest crew, and like me and Jason are getting ready to flip the boats, and the Singaporeans want to do the old chem light drill. Well, we're also
oh my God,
but we're all so fucking short that it doesn't. Look, it's like a chem light. It doesn't make sense, right? So anyway,
let me explain this to the audience. Okay, so a dump boat, first of all, is a drill that the instructors would have the students do. You take your boat out past the surf zone. You end up it's to simulate having to purge the boat of water that got into the boat. And what you basically do is everybody gets out, so everybody's got to get in the water. So if you were dry or getting dry, you're wet again. And then you got to turn the boat upside down to dump it. And then you got to turn the boat back up and get back in the boat. And you can't lose any of your paddles or any of your gear. So at night, to do night operations, the instructors have us put chem lights. So the idea by members of your boat crew was, we'll fool the instructors by just making an arc with this chem light.
You ain't fooling shit.
Yeah, dude. Let me tell you, as an instructor, is like just like we were placing bets which boat crew was going to try to fuck around. So anyhow, that was their idea, was instead of getting in the water, and that's the thing that sucks about a dump boat drill is you just get dry, and then you're wet again, and you're like,
people don't understand that.
No.
I mean, it's to the bone.
Oh man.
But anyway, Mike Mayer, Nightmare.
I know Mike.
Mike Mayer would used to go around on that kayak.
Yep.
He's the one that would take the dive tables, pull out as you know what, and piss on him and go, "You're going to die tonight," right? Back when you could threaten to kill people. But anyway, the Singaporeans were like, "No, we do it. And they're not even whispering, right?
Yeah.
So like their Singaporean voices are just like cracking through the dead air.
It's so dark. It's so quiet at night.
All I do finally, like I look at Redmond and Monroe. Monroe is like sleeping. He doesn't even care. So I take my, we had to wear because remember Courtley cracked his head open. This was after you guys. You guys didn't do them. But we had to wear Protex.
Yeah.
So I just literally took the paddle and I went, whang, and I hit NG right in his head like as hard as I could. And then remember, now we're sleep deprived. You know it. We haven't slept. We haven't eaten. And all of a sudden I hear out of the darkest, "Care Bear, stop killing the Singaporean." And I thought it was like God. I'm like, what the hell? And it was Mike Mayer. But
from the kayak.
So he swims up to us and he makes us dump boat 3 times.
And dumping boat is not easy because to get the boat over it's like a team effort to lift the boat.
Pulling your legs out.
Yeah,
oh.
you don't understand like what it really takes to do it. Like I remember in first phase going through it and like, oh, dumping boat, that sounds like that's an easy evolution.
That sounds fun.
Fuck yeah, it's gonna get in the water. Yeah, yeah. And then of course when the water, what you don't realize is that you don't get all the water out of the boat. When you do this, it doesn't get all out. So you still have to try to like lift the boat with more water in it. So, oh God, that's hilarious.
It literally is just a night of just, like said, people always ask me, what's Bud's like? I'm like, just open your legs if you're due. Let me kick you in the balls as hard as I can for 6 months of Bud's training. And to the point where like Tom Bostic, Tommy, he was like, I'd rather get kicked in the balls than do this. You just get so accustomed to it. But
I remember when I went back as an instructor and I got the chance to, to like roll reverse, when I just kind of like, to some extent it's a game, right? And it's, for those would-be candidates that are going to Buds, what I mean by it's a game is that, there are certain things that happen in that scenario. It's just a filter. That's all it really is. It's just one giant filter for 6 months. It's one of the longest filters you'll ever go through. And what I remember as back when I was a Buds instructor was like, oh my God, was I that stupid? Was I that dumb when I was a student?
You were.
I was.
So was I.
Probably even dumber, but God, oh man, it was so much fun. Like that was a good way to kind of like think about it, like a before and after of sorts.
Well, and then put it in reference or symbolism of life. It's like I have a son, right? He's done a lot of dumb shit, and I always catch him, just like they catch us. You know why? They did the same stupid shit.
It's like, yeah, I did it. I know exactly what to expect, and yeah, you're busted.
Like if we had civilians doing it, we could get away with murder.
Yeah.
But the stuff that we do, like dump boat, like and it was Jason Redman said, he goes, dump boat, we're fucking 3 feet tall. Really? The other, the chem, like the boat is like, when you tilt it over, it's like 5.5 or 6 feet. He's like, it's not going to work.
Nobody's going to buy it.
And literally, I was of sound mind, and, Jamie Monroe's laying there just sleeping, saying whatever you want to do. And the Singaporeans, no, we do. And I'm like, we got hammered, dude. I mean, that was what was so great. I loved, I know back to the question, Buds, because I had my boat crew sucked dick. We just sucked. The Smurf crew, I lost 16 pounds in Hell Week, man.
Oh,
we
Jesus.
Lost everything. And I blame everybody in my boat crew but me.
Of course. It's so funny. When I went through Hell Week, I had to, during mid-rats, I had to take an extra tray of food. The instructors would make me eat more food.
You just, because you're burning up, yeah.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. And what's funny is they put the entire class in the lean and rest until I ate the second tray. And, I'm like, I already have a big tray, because that was the thing, too. The instructors would go through the line and put the food on my tray, because I'd be like, I'd only put like 1, 2, 3 things, because I knew what they were going to do, right? My first tray is going to be light, because I know the instructor's going to give me a second tray is going to be full. And dude, I would have to sit there. Remember those pancakes?
Oh yeah.
I'd have to like roll it up, and I'd have to like, I can't. Like I'm trying to. I couldn't even put the fucking K-Pock back on. Sometimes it was so fucking big, and I remember that was torture to me. That extra mid-rats meal literally killed me, and we got like. I'm sure they kind of saw me doing this after a while, but I would be like, the guys would be like, hand me some of your food, because we're getting, they're in the lean and rest until I finish that plate. So I'd be like sticking, like, you remember how you would get food to your dog and you pass all your vegetables to your dogs. So that's what I was doing. I was passing food to my boat crew, and they would pass it to everybody else. So they were in the lean and rest, just handing food left and right to everybody in the line. Oh, that's a memorable thing. It's funny because some things pop back into my mind just like that. Like, I don't know, it just popped back into my mind when you started talking about, oh my God, I remember this. This was terrible. Other things I can't remember unless something triggers them.
That's how it works. I have to be looking at a Frogman talking about it.
Yeah.
Because I listen to Rob O'Neill's podcast. He acts like he went through Buds yesterday. I'm like, how the fuck do you remember that shit, Rob? Sean Brennan's the same damn way. He went through Buds like 4 times.
Like, Jesus.
Of course he remembers Buds. He went through it 4 fucking times. I was
going to say, you mastered it. You mastered that. All right, so you get through Buds.
Yep.
You had an easy class, so they gave it to you.
I went through the CLEP course. It was the accelerated course. It was only 3 days long.
All right. So you get to the teams.
Yep.
How was your experience in the teams?
It was good. It was a new guy. A lot of learn fast, shut the fuck up quick.
Totally.
Get your ass whooped in a platoon. No war hero in the teams. I didn't do a whole lot in teams. I don't just wasn't a lot going on. But I wouldn't trade it in for anything.
I know, man.
There's guys that have been a lot more fortunate, but I got a book coming out talking about everything except being a Navy SEAL, because I didn't do a whole lot in teams, but it was it's a huge part of my life.
Right on.
Something that you look across the room and like, I know exactly what you went through and you know exactly what I went through. I just did it better than you. But we have that bond, right?
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Did that for about, I was in the Navy for 12 years. I was in the teams for about 8 and change. And then I moved over to the agency.
Nice.
So I was a firearms instructor. I did GRS and I did Spagil, the Zero Dark 30 bullshit.
Yeah.
For about 14 years. Got busted up a couple times, blown up a couple times. And it was time, I was actively seeking employment elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
It was because as well as I do, being gone all the time takes its toll on the family. I mean, like I said, and I was kind of, it seemed like I was circling back, almost going back to my childhood with the pain and the arguments and this and that, and I had to find something else. And lo and behold, Jason Redmond, myself, Brent Gleason, another team guy, Brenny, and a couple, and we were asked to do this event down in Miami, and the two main speakers were Bedros Keuilian and Brad Lee. Both Brad Lee owns it's like a interactive platform. I'll remember what it's called, but like Tony Robbins using it. He's another great dude. And I was like the opener for the opener of the opener of the opener for Bedros, right? So, but truth be told, the night before him and I met, we just kind of started talking. It's like synergy, right? We just got along. And the reason why I'm talking about this is just, when you just meet someone, it was like when I met my wife. We could just talk about anything. We were talking about, we had a lot of similarities in our past. We both had a lot of pain. Next thing you know, the stuntman's come out. I'm snorting the snot, drinking the tequila, rubbing the lemon in my eye. And we had about a 2-hour conversation. Serious, funny, laughing, a lot of emotion. And I don't know, it was like something brought us together.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, everything is my dude. My dude, I'm going to listen to you speak tomorrow, but I want you to listen to the last 10 minutes of my speech. Oh. I said, Roger, he goes, I think it really pertains to you. And he's a very powerful speaker. So, obviously we're in work mode. So I said, yes, sir. Truth be told, I spoke. He liked it, gave me a lot of, when I met Bedros, it was over with. I said, hey, how'd I do? He's like, you were a great speaker. And I went, really? Only the second time I've spoke. So, and I told him, I said, that's the input you're giving me. I said, dude, you're a fraud. He goes, oh, wait, you want me to be honest? And I said, yeah. And he goes, it was like someone just loaded the Tommy gun. But instead of getting upset about it, I said, hold on. I hit record. Yeah. Tell me what I did wrong.
Yeah.
So I think that was the first thing that he liked, that a Navy SEAL could actually take constructive criticism from someone that's not a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And then when he was speaking, Jeff, as God is my witness, I had a fucking piss so bad. I was in my suit and tie. I still remember it, my blue suit with my American flags inside. I was drinking a lot of water. I just got back off deployment, so pumping a lot of shit through the body. I was big back then. We'll leave it there. But as he was speaking, he was like here, and I was on the backstage because I really was like taking notes and stuff. Man, when my teeth were floating. I couldn't hold anymore. So as he's finishing up and he comes off stage, I've literally got my dick out and I'm pissing in a bottle. And he walks up to me, right? And he's not laughing. He just walks up and I'm like, because, it's bright. And all of a sudden he sees me. He's like, dude. He's like, why are you pissing in a bottle? And this is what I think started the whole I call it the bromance with him. I said, sir, because he told me when you speak, you can look for people. I mean, now for me, this was huge. It was like 1,000 people. For him, it's like a fucking joke. So I'm like sitting up there like crickets, scared shitless. And I knew he was looking for me. And I said, imagine if you would have scanned that audience, not seen me, and then when you got off stage, you didn't see me. He goes, well, I see you now.
All of you.
And he said, so that's why, because he said the bathroom's right there. I said, well, that's why I'm pissing right here. I wanted you to be able to see me doing this, and I physically couldn't hold my urine anymore. So I close it up. I said, hey, great job. He's like, go fucking wash your hands. And this is what I want people to understand. This is how pain comes into it is, he told me, I really like you, dude. Like, everything is my dude. That's what he says to you. He goes, I'd like you to come out because you told me, I used to work with Rob Roy and I used to work with Don Shipper.
Rob.
Yeah, Rob. And he said, I want you to come out and train my team. I said, okay, I could do that shit, So I met Matt Schneider. He was teaching like airsoft tactics and stuff like that. And he was a SWAT guy, hostage negotiator. And I said, I wanted to do that. But he goes, I want you to teach my team how teamwork, problem solving, leadership, communication, all the shit that we do. So his daughter, Chloe, at the time was a little younger. I think she was like 12. And we have a 200-pound rectangle log because you can't roll a fucking rectangle.
Oh, no.
So F-late, defilade, incline, decline for all you non-military types. So what I did was she had to roll this thing from cone to cone, which was about 15 feet. I said, Chloe, right, I gave her all the drills. So I need you to do this. I want you to think out of the box. I sent a picture of my daughter, Nyla. Instead of trying to pick this thing up, she was just pushing it, right? Like not ass over tea kettle, just rolling it, right? Short side.
Yeah.
So she said, okay, Mr. A, and she did it. So she got down there, and I said, hey, listen, you got about 30 seconds to do it. So he gets down there. I start the clock. She does it in like 29 seconds, and everybody's hooting and hollering, right? Mom and Dad are going crazy because it's 200 pounds. She's getting muddy. And I'm like, holy shit, this is either going to be an epic or it's going to be an epic failure, an epic victory. So when we get there, everybody starts cheering. And I said, Chloe, I want to explain something to you in life. Life's going to throw you curveballs, and it's not going to be what it's made up to be. And a lot of times life is going to cause pain and trauma and turmoil and chaos. And she just looks at me because she's like 12. I'm like,
what are you saying to me, sir?
So I said, here's what I want you to do, sweetheart. And mom and dad are right there. Like Bedros is like right there, like, Papa Cub ready, trying to figure this shit out. I said, sweetheart, I need you to do what you just did, but I need you to do it faster. But I said, but come here, I want to show you something. So I explained incline, decline. You understand that you just went down a hill? She's like, yes. So I need you to go up the hill. She goes, you need me to go up the hill faster. I said, yes, ma'am. So what do you have to do? She's smart, man. Like Bedros' kids are like super smart, and so is he and his wife. So she looks at the log. She looks at the cone. She does this a couple times, and a light pops on. She goes, well, do what you told me. Just do what I did, but just do it better. Can you do that, sweetheart? And go. 2 seconds faster.
Wow.
So not only did she do that right, I'm like, Navy SEALs, I'm the greatest. Right?
Right on.
But anyway, when it was over with, I see Bedros' wife, him and Di talking. And I knew I had the goods. So anyway, they flew me out first class, put me in a hotel. They treated me well, gave me a little money. And I said, hey, I hope this was awesome. It's what you wanted. He goes, yeah, it was. And when I landed, I had a voicemail from Bedros. Hey, my dude, I want you to call me. I want to offer something to you. And I was just like, because I knew. Sorry, cut that out.
No.
But I was so excited and nervous, and that's what started the process. And he said, you were genuine. And he goes, I think you're the only person that's gone through as much, if not more, pain than me. And you've learned the secret. And that's how to channel the pain into something profitable. And profitable, what I want, and I'm looking at everybody on here, it doesn't mean a monetary standpoint. It doesn't always mean money, right? Yeah. I see people that are always investing in their jobs, but most people don't invest in themselves. If you invest in your job, you're going to make a living. If you invest in yourself, you're going to make a lifetime. And that's what people need to do. But you need to, like when I do the project, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, one of my programs, I tell people, I make people fill out a 7-day survey. 7-day survey, right? I don't get religious, but if from what I hear, the big Lord made it in 7 days, you can fill something out in less than 7 days.
Yeah.
But I don't want to know what's great with Jeff Gonzalez. Don't tell me all the accomplishments. I know you've got awards and blah, blah. Tell me about the pain, the struggle, the journey. Because what I tell human beings is the more we know, the more we grow. Right? Yeah. And I'm going to use 2 words here, and this is going to shut you down because men, there's 2 words, 2 letters that people don't like in the world. I want you to see this. For women, it's the C word. For men, it's the V word. Men is vulnerable. Women is creative. Don't think I would use that other word. I spoke at an all women's event, did that. My wife's jaw dropped. I was like, creative. But
where was your head at, ladies?
But as far as men, because I run men's courses. And the reason why I run men's courses is simply this. You know my wife, Trisha. I've been married for 17 years. I know your girl. And this is what she'll tell you. I don't know jack shit about women. I don't. I mean, men as a whole, we really don't. Yeah. Right? We're a different species. We're built different. We're wired different. But I do know men, and I do know boys, and I do know men that go through pain. So the first thing I tell all these guys is, listen, don't tell me how much money you make and how great of a shot you are and how great your hair looks. And because that's what I get all the time. I'm like, this is bullshit. Be vulnerable, right? And I think when men become vulnerable and they accept the V word into their vocabulary, then all of a sudden the pain starts seeping out. Yeah. And then what we do in our courses is there are men, all men have a strength and they have a weakness. So what, superpower, kryptonite. What I like to say is mentor or be mentored. So our group focuses, if you're good at something, men will be drawn to you like a moth to a flame. Like, hey, Jeff Gonzalez can teach me how to fucking shoot. He can teach me how to move. He can, right? Boom, boom, boom. But if you have a negative, let's say one of your pains is I was physically abused as a child and I have a hard time accepting it. Well, maybe I would be drawn to you from that because that's happened to me. Yeah. So my courses are developed to give advice, not opinions. Let me explain the difference. My father was murdered when I was 11. Whoa. It fucking sucked. I had a guy.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Appreciate it, but you know what? It may be the man I am. Everything happens. My wife tells me this all the time, and everything happens for a reason. And until I met her, I thought that was the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard.
I can't. I say the same.
She says that like, like AC breaks down when it's 200 degrees out. Everything happens for a reason. Like, are you shitting? I don't say that to her, but I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, right? So, but my point to this is, I know, is a guy tells me, he's like, man, I know what you're going through. And I get serious about certain things. Like I told you, we don't speak about my mother, and my father was murdered. And I said, so your father was murdered at a young age? No, he died when he was 80. And I looked at him and said, motherfucker, you don't have a clue what you're talking about, right? So case in point, that would be like if I wasn't Navy SEAL, me giving you tips on becoming a Navy SEAL when you're a Navy SEAL. Do you really want to hear that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think, no offense, we've both been firearms instructors. I don't really think there's even anything I could tell you. I mean, maybe if I read something new, but otherwise you're going to be like, Ray, shut the fuck up. But people need to understand the difference between an opinion and advice. And what I'm looking for in life to help me deal with the pain is advice. I don't give a shit about your opinion. Like, I get guys, my son wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I love my son, but he's a dumb motherfucker. He was talking to a kid who wasn't even in the Navy who was thinking about being a SAR swimmer. I'm like, but he didn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. And that's what a lot of people, everybody's got an opinion about something, and it usually is just full of shit.
Man, it's so funny to hear you say that. When, and I love how you put it, the opinion versus the advice. People will look at opinions as if they are valuable.
Yeah.
And
they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
I mean, that probably is going to butthurt a lot of people. Your opinion is not valuable. But I will say this, if you can take your opinion and you can restructure it so it has value, now it becomes advice.
Yeah, you have to have a hall rep. You have to have, has to have street cred, if you will, right? Like,
there's more to just being able to, run your pie hole. But that's what I, like I have a similar issue with my sons, and I, I'm at that point where now I will only try to frame stuff so that it is advice and not give them my opinion. Like, back in the day, I used to say, you want my opinion? And of course their response was no. I'm like, well, you're getting it anyhow.
Yeah.
But now I try to frame it in the sense of, I can give you some advice on this.
Yeah.
And the reason why I feel like that's working better is because it's not criticizing them.
Yeah.
An opinion typically criticizes somebody, like, oh my God, you do it that way. Well, let me give you my opinion on that. Yeah. But advice, and if everybody has the same end goal, which I assume everybody has the same end goal, which is to better themselves.
We hope.
And that's that's what I assume. Then that's why the advice, I think, is more valuable. So I love hearing that, because that to me is like strong. That's like medicine right there. Big medicine.
And I think the reason, I've been climbing up the ranks pretty quick with, social media and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Doesn't mean jack shit to me. But becoming successful, right? So before I explain, because people are sitting here saying, oh, Navy SEAL thinks he's successful. Success, my definition of success is helping others help themselves because you've helped yourself.
Without a doubt.
So so I think the reason why I am, and there's no in between with me. You either love Ray Kashkar or you fucking hate me, because I don't sugarcoat anything. And it's because time is the most precious commodity we have. 100%. And I don't have time for bullshit. Like, dude. And like, case in point, if you and I have a disagreement about something, and again, I know who I'm talking to, situational awareness and respect are key. So it would be like, hey, Jeff, do you have a second? Yeah. So that's where I'm going to break our 6 feet rule, keep a little distance depending on situations. Hey, Jeff, listen. We're alone. Look around. Situational awareness. I'd like to address this. This is what I feel like you're doing wrong, and this is the solution that I think we do. This. Yeah. Versus going, hey, Jeff, in front of people, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. Right? And that is, like, to me, is what a lot of society is doing wrong now. They don't understand the proper approach to do things. Even and a lot of people stem from it where, they've been scarred and they've been this and they've been that because of childhood pain or past pain or this or that. You can't let the past dictate who you are or who you're going to be. Because if that were the case, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. I wouldn't be a Navy SEAL. I wouldn't be married to a woman I have no fucking business being with. I wouldn't have 2 great kids. I wouldn't have a high-paying job. And I want to make something very clear to everybody on these podcasts. Everybody thinks I make fucking millions of dollars because we charge a lot of money. I don't. I make about as much as a fucking E9 in the Navy, so he knows what that is. It's not, I mean, tax-free, but yeah, it's good money, but it's not what you motherfuckers think.
Yeah.
I work for a boss man too, but that's what needs to happen in this world, and it pisses me off. Everybody, like, the thing that pisses me off more than anything right now is social fucking media. Social media, but everybody's like, wait, you could be making so much money. I refuse to be fake on social media. Any video that you see on my Instagram that's edited is done from Bedros' people.
Nice.
I don't edit bullshit. I don't edit anything. And listen, I'm not digging on Jocko. I love Jocko. I don't get up and take a picture of something at 4 o'clock in the morning. If I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning working out, I hit live feed and let's go.
Yeah.
I know Jocko's a badass and he does it, but I do things my way. I don't sugarcoat things, and I don't give a fuck. I tell people this right now. I'm going to be misunderstood because, like, I'm evolving, man. Yeah. I have a thirst for fucking knowledge and wisdom, and I have so much fucking pain in this fucking tank of mine. Yeah. It's just, it's seeping out. Yeah. So I just use it.
Well, you know what's so interesting too is, like, I think the value of, hey, time is my greatest commodity. It's my most precious commodity, and
my greatest adversary.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's definitely not on like I'm past the halfway mark now. Way past the halfway mark.
You ain't shitting, and you look it too, motherfucker. I thought you were like 60. I'm kidding. I'm gonna get banned off this fucking podcast.
Not at all.
Look, he's even fucking laughing. He's shaking his head. How much older does he look at me? Look at me. I'm 50. You're 54 or 5.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at him. He looks like my father.
Oh, fuck. I forgot what I was going to say now. God damn it. It was a good point, too. I can't remember. All right. We'll move on.
That was my bad.
Yeah. No. It's good because first of all, part of me wanting to do this podcast, the podcast, not just you podcast, is I want to have fun. I want to have a good time. I want to enjoy it. I want to enlighten and enrich people's lives through a lot of different mediums, one of which is laughter.
Yeah.
Humor, comedy. So, yeah, we're checking that box without a doubt. Quick word from our sponsor. We've been working with the folks at 1776 for comprehensive insurance of our firearms collections, and I'm really happy with how things are going so far. And one of my concerns is with the amount of commuting that I do with my firearms collection. What happens should my vehicle be broken into or stolen with my firearms? And there's reason to have this concern because there's 800,000 vehicles stolen per year in America. So it's not, it's a little bit more common than we might think. What I mentioned earlier is that they have a comprehensive insurance plan, which is that they will cover your firearms stolen out of your vehicle, or should your vehicle be stolen, cover the firearms that were in the vehicle. So that's pretty reassuring in a sense. So I've mentioned this before, but the process to apply is pretty easy. Approval is pretty quick. They do not require you provide a itemization or serialized numbers. There's no appraisal or schedules that you have to provide. So really all you want to do is just make sure you have proof of ownership, and that's it. So if you want to learn more about the folks from 1776 and insuring your firearms collection, visit 1776insurance.com. All right, so when you joined up with Bedros, about what time period? You said about 3.5 years ago?
2019. I left Kabul in 19 when the explosions were happening.
Wow.
I just missed the big one by the gate. I was actually driving the COS out.
Wow.
Which you know what that is, but most people don't. Anyway, the chief of the agency I was in charge of, who was a team guy, I'm not going to say his name, obviously. But, Bedros and I had been talking. We originally were going to start in November, but it started in January, and after that explosion happened, I'm fully transparent with my wife. I know guys are like, oh, you shouldn't be telling your wife that, but, me and my wife have an amazing relationship. I was actually in the chow hall when it blew up in fucking 04, 05 in Mosul, and Tom Rochoff, Rat.
Yeah.
Rat is the godfather of my kids, and back then, you didn't have like a lot of phone calls and shit like that, so I would let my wife check my email. Guys are like, you don't? Yeah. And Rat wrote, hey, I know you're in M-Town. Were you in the explosion? And because I used to lie to my wife and tell her I was in other places, right?
All the fucking time.
And all of a sudden I get this scathing email. Hey, where are you at? Because you told me you were at. I'm like, huh?
Dude.
And then all of a sudden I get a message from Rat. Hey, man, just so you know, I sent the message. Your wife, your fiance read it, and he knew her. And he's like, she's really mad at both of us. And I'm like, thanks, dude.
Dude. So I have a great story about that too. So the first part of my career was pretty awesome in the sense that I got deployed right away into, combat theater. And I lied to my parents, particularly my mom, about where I was. And I did that like nonstop. She'd ask me where I'm at, and I'd be like, "Oh, we're skydiving over in California, or we're doing a we're doing a dive trip down in Florida, whatever."
Yeah.
Always something somewhat plausible, because I had to keep them all straight because they was constant. But I was deployed for a long time during that time period, and one of my ex girlfriends from high school caught a glimpse of me on like one of the primetime news. It was just a fucking faint glimpse of like through the camera, like there were people, and I was moving through a crowd, and I got caught by her. She goes to the house, and she knocks on the door, and my mom answers, and she's like, "Miss Gonzalez, do you know if Jeff's okay? Because I saw him on TV, and there's all these people that got injured, and I'm just wondering." She's like, "Oh, he's fine. He called me. He's in California." She's like, "No, I think I saw him on this," and so all of a sudden, the next time I call, she just lit into me something, and I'm like, "Mom, I can't tell you where I'm at. I love you. Bye." Click. That's it. So like, I got busted on my story too for trying to keep them.
But back then, that was what you were you were told to do, right?
It was true. And on top of that, it was I always felt like the less that she worried, the less I worried.
Yes, yeah, because I can't
carry that bag. That was the other things that we learned. You don't want any extra baggage that you don't need going
now.
I
tell my wife every trip I go on is dangerous because I don't want her cheating on me with a younger guy. Like, I need you sitting home worried about me. Pray. No,
I love that. Okay, so wow, this is all. Yeah, you're right. This is moving fast. This is moving really fast. Like, so I want to circle back really quick to one thing. You have built, and I've had an opportunity to partake in this, but one of the things that I always admired about you is you are true to your word. You say you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and you publicize that. But what's the one thing that you do for yourself every day?
Stay fit. I know it sounds so. I work out. Like, I'm going to work out after this before we go to dinner. And
yeah.
I honestly believe that the fitter I am, the longer I have on this earth. I feel that every day I don't work out, I'm taking seconds away from my life. If I smoke, I'm taking seconds away from my life. I don't drink a lot anymore because I used to think all the shit that I used to abuse and take for granted, I now kind of put on a whole different pedestal.
Yeah.
And I tell people, I just did an article for Muscle and Fitness. I will be the next Jack LaLanne. Minus being he was a chiropractor in real life. I will be the next Jack LaLanne.
I love that.
I challenge people all the time. I just had a 28-year-old challenge me to a push-up contest.
Yes.
At Rob O'Neill's place, and everybody's like, "How'd you do?" I'm like, "Well, I'm still wearing the crown, so I don't know what to tell you." And guys are always like, "I'm going to beat you today," and I always tell them at the end of the workout, "You probably will beat me, but again, it won't be today because I just beat you."
Yeah.
The only person that's given me a run for my money thus far, who they broke it up, was Andre Rush, the White House chef.
No shit.
And I won't lie to you, Andre. I've called you out 10 times. You were shaking like a dog shit in a peach tree at 270 pounds. Them stopping that was the best fucking thing that ever happened to you. And he does 2,200 push-ups a day.
Oh, Jesus.
But I will call out any man. But yes, I am true to my word. I think it's the one thing that that is still pure and can be. It's easy to do that. I mean, it's so simplistic, and so many people don't do it. Our creed that we have for the project, the first line is, "I'm a man of my word. I make a promise and I keep it."
Yeah.
I mean, I've broken a lot of promises in life. I won't lie to you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to my wife, to my family.
Yeah.
No more.
What's so funny is, like, I remember people would ask me to promise them something, and I'd be like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to, like, I drew a line in the sand. If I promise something, I will die on that hill.
Yeah. If you go, I'm going to go to Afghanistan and get into 3 battles. I'll promise you this. I'm going to do everything I can to come home because I really want to come home.
For sure.
I'm not going to promise you anything.
That
but
I will come home, but I'm going to promise to do everything I can to come home. And what's funny is that also has been rewarding as well as relieving, because there's also this notion that I don't want to hurt other people's feelings. Oh, promise me that you're going to do this. I don't have, I can't. I'm not going to promise you that because I honestly don't have the time to do that. I don't have the time to do whatever it is that you need me to do for yourself.
Now, what about this one right here?
What?
Honey, is she prettier than me?
No. You know
No.
what? First of all,
Yes,
never.
she's so much hotter than you.
So it's like the Star Wars theme. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. All of them are traps. So I always lead with that. I'm like, honey, I see.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
I'm like, I see what you're doing here, and I'm not gonna fall. I'm not some young buck that is trying to impress you.
But my go-to answer is this: do you think she's hot? Sweetie, you never bring a woman to do, I never look at a girl to do a woman's job. That's why I have you. And she's like, good answer. Say that.
My the way I'll sometimes answer that, I'm like, is that important to you?
Yeah.
Because are you valuing your is her value greater than your
Do your
value?
Stevie Wonder?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I don't even see her.
What are you talking about? No, but what's funny is I think I kind of remember what we were going to talk about. It's like no, it wasn't anything.
Well, while you're thinking of that, let me backtrack to one of my greatest accomplishments, minus my wife, minus my kids, minus the teams.
Yeah.
When you go to Navy boot camp now in Great Lakes, 2 videos are shown. One as you show up, one when you graduate.
Okay.
One of the seaman apprentice fighting a fire, saying that his goal one day is to be a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
This guy.
No shit.
And then me and my cries talking about what it's like to be a hero and how I am nothing compared to Bastogne and all the other things. And it's funny because 4 kids in my block joined the Navy. 2 of them were nukes. 2 of them were just, idiots like me. But just kidding. They were like, Mr. Ray, we saw you in the video. And I'll tell you, I actually got a call from an admiral years ago. And he said, Petty Officer Care? I'm like, well, this is Ray Carey. He's like, well, this is Admiral so-and-so.
Oh,
shit. Says you're, BM. I was like, yeah, that's me. And he said, I want you to know I'm the blah, blah, blah recruiter for Great Lakes. And I said, well, nice to meet you, sir. And he goes, well, we really like the stuff you have on YouTube. And we're making this nationwide video. It's a recruiting tool for the individuals that come to Navy and, boot camp. And then when they graduate, he goes, and we're going to use your information. And I said, wow, I'm honored. He goes, you have any questions? And he goes, before you ask anything, you're not getting fucking paid. I said, no, sir, no questions. He hung up on me. That was it. But
of course, needs the Navy.
But my point to this is when I bring it back, and I know I'm joking, is if a person like me, kid that, and again, I know I'm hard on myself, Bedros gets on me, not super educated. I mean, I can hold my own, doesn't have a lot of talent, a lot of heart. 90% of his life has been pain-induced. If I can accomplish something like that, imagine what someone that is, and I know a lot of people have so much more than I do. I know it.
Yeah.
Because we all have it. Imagine what not you, but what he could do or she could do or they could do. And I don't want people to say, well, look up to me for anything, but I want people to just use me as a stepping stone. Well, fuck, if that guy can do it, I can do it. I can, I'll carry the weight. Yeah. I don't mind being your stepping stone.
Yeah.
Like if it's going to move you up the ladder, but the people that what infuriates me is people that I had a shitty childhood. My parents didn't love me. Motherfucker, mine didn't.
Yeah.
I don't speak to my mother.
Yeah.
But I married a woman that's so fucking hot I got her tattooed on my arm. Horrible things that were done to me as a child, I don't do them to my kids.
Yeah.
I don't do them to my wife. So my point is listen up, ladies and gentlemen. You are in charge of your vessel. You are a vessel. And from time to time, you're going to get off course. And you need to self-correct or surround yourself with individuals who will help correct you.
Yeah.
Know your self-worth and your self-value. Stop fucking self-sabotaging yourself. Because alphas are the king of it. And women, females. But humans are, humans, you've read it, 60,000 thoughts, 48,000 of them are negative.
Yeah. And
it usually falls within your family, your fitness, your finances, and faith. If I can take one of those negative thoughts away every day, that's a plus.
Yeah.
If I can make an impact every day, 1% better, it's always a plus. I'm always looking how I can move the needle. Look at this, in the right direction to success, and it's not it's not going fast.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I've realized. Success doesn't happen overnight unless you win the fucking lottery, and that's called luck. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
There's no fucking skill in that.
And it's so funny too because you see this a lot. Guys that want to try to maybe follow in your footsteps is not the right way to put it, but everybody understands what I mean by that. But they also think that it's going to happen overnight and quickly. And I try to emphasize, I'm like, listen, there's no way that you're going to get to where I'm at as a firearms instructor in any less time. Maybe there is if you, like you said, you have more tools. Like we didn't have the tools that people have now, like social media and YouTube and things like that in the beginning of my career. We didn't have that. So yeah, maybe there are some that can do it. But my point is that you're not going to do it without putting in the work. You're not going to do it without actually making it a daily effort.
Oh yeah.
To do the right thing. And that's the other thing. It's like I try to tell the boys this. It's much easier to do the right thing than to deal with the pain from not doing it or doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about this before. You get these, I get hundreds of DMs a day. I want to be a Navy SEAL, but.
Yep.
And I tell people, the only way that you have a shot, I'm talking a shot of being a Navy SEAL, or having a shot of being whatever it is you want to be in fucking life, is you have to be the most relentless motherfucker on planet Earth.
So true.
You have to be ruthless with your intentions and your motives to be successful.
It's so true.
I have no fucking plan B.
Yeah.
I had no plan B.
Yeah.
To become a SEAL. When I met Trish, there was no plan B. I was like, bitch, and I didn't call her bitch, but I was thinking, you're going to be my wife. I told her, in 2 weeks, you will be my wife. But I am relentless in my pursuit of greatness. I am the Colonel Hal Moore. That's from We Were Soldiers. If you watch the movie, the book is amazing.
Yeah.
I am the first one on the fucking battlefield, and I'm the last one off. And I will not fucking stop. That is the only reason I've gotten to where I am.
So true.
Because I get it all the time. I want to be a Navy SEAL. I've been wanting to do this since I was 12. Well, how old are you? I'm 14. Really? Or I watched this movie. I want to be a Navy SEAL. Or my favorite is, I don't know if I want to be a Navy SEAL or I want to be an SF or I want to be this. And I tell people, when you fucking know.
You'll know.
You know. And that's the thing. First thing I tell people is stop wanting. I want to be a Navy SEAL. Motherfucker, you need. I needed that woman in my life. I needed to be a Navy SEAL. I needed to work with Bedros Koulian. I need to be in shape. And I am a ruthless fucking dog when it comes to it. I mean, if you told me right now, you're going to be better if you go over and have, and Tim Kennedy's like fucking 20 feet away from us, to go over and have Tim Kennedy kick my ass, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I'll keep coming back to the point where Tim goes, I'm going to get better, but I'm still not going to beat him. He's going to be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
When I'm there, whenever I'm going against someone in the fight, and this is what people need to understand, they need to know you're there, man. I am fucking, not physically, but I'm gouging eyes. I'm doing whatever it takes, because life is not about fucking being successful. I honestly think it's about surviving.
Without a doubt.
And the better you survive, the better you will succeed, right?
And the more joy you bring to your life with the
oh my
betterment
God,
of your,
man.
of your survival.
I love what I do. I get paid to fucking yell at people. You get paid to teach people how to shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking awesome.
And I love, I got asked this question a lot, what was the secret to making it through buds? What was the the cheat code, if you will, whatever. And my response is, every day you wake up and you say to yourself, not today.
Yep.
Not today. Today, I'm going to give it 100%. I'm not holding anything back. I'm going to give every evolution my all, and that's all I'm looking at. I'm looking at the day. And I even went so far as to just look at one evolution at a time.
Now, see, and everybody has their own systematic way. Me, I would pick the baddest motherfucker in class and say, when he quits, I'll quit. But when he would quit, I'd be like, he's a bitch. Who's next?
Yeah.
But I found out in my class, I actually thought it was more. I thought 16 original. We were down to 6 original.
What?
We had 51 graduate, a lot of rollbacks and stuff, but I was just running out of guys. And then after that, I'll just start picking fucking hey, when that sun fucking turns blue, but
I like that.
I do that a lot, and I do a lot of self-reflection drills. I do weekly AARs, which is an after-action report, which is kind of like a sit rep or kind of like a review of yourself for civilians on my family, my fitness, my finances, and faith. Family. Am I good? Every avenues of being a man in my life.
Love
Father,
that.
brother, whatever.
That's awesome.
Fitness is, I grade myself on 3 aspects. I'm 3-dimensional: physical, mental, and emotional. Physical strength is like physical leadership. It's not enough. Leadership isn't anything. It's everything. Mm-hmm. There's the family fitness. Finance, always trying to prioritize, strategize, and monetize everything in my life. Everything, everyone. How can I create growth? And then the faith is the belief in my system, team care, trust, effort, attitude, mission. And I grade myself on that every fucking Sunday. And I try to have an AAR with my family, which is my wife and my daughter.
Yeah.
And I always want to know one thing that I did good.
Yes.
Two things that I can do better.
Oh, man.
And
you know, it's so funny to hear you say that. It's like after we turn the cameras off, that's the first thing I'm going to ask you. Like, what I do good, what I do bad.
Of course.
What do I need?
That's how you grow.
Yeah, I know, but it's so funny to hear. It's like, I don't think people value like the art of the debrief, the art of self-reflection, the art of like, if you're truly trying to improve yourself on a regular basis, why wouldn't you?
But these are the people that are bitching about where they are in life and why they're not getting what they want.
Exactly.
Just like I could have easily, when Bedros called me and said, "Hey man, you did a great job,"
could have walked
like
away.
I literally was thinking to myself, and I went, "Bitch, I get paid $5,000 and you get paid $50,000 to $100,000 to speak." I just reverse engineer everything. Like, it's so easy to just go, "Thank you," but it's like, no. If you're making this, and I want to make that, tell me how I can be better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The ego and attitude have to be left at the front door.
So true. I mean, like, I think that was a hard lesson for me to learn. When I walked into my first platoon, here I was, I graduated buds. You walk into your first platoon and you realize you are shit.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Sit over there. We'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, pretty much. The best advice, and I tell this to everybody I come across, was my C daddy. He goes, "Hey, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much." That was it. Like, he said like 6 words to me.
So I heard a true story. When you went through Buzz, they didn't even have scuba tanks. You just had to like hold air in your hand. After class 170, they actually gave us tanks. Is that true? No, I'm kidding. But no, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I've heard that expression too. And I think the world needs to listen more, not hear, right? Hearing is when people hear.
Preach it.
So the difference between listening and hearing is listening is absorbing, really trying to grasp what's going on and retain the information. When someone hears you, they're just waiting to step in and speak.
Exactly.
Right? Selective hearing, like I'll do that with my wife. I know she's not paying attention, blah, 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 and all of a sudden I'll be like, "Bitch," and she'll be like, "What?" and I want to make this clear. I never say that to my wife, but I just test her out because as humans, we select what we want to hear. But what we need to do is we need to listen more, right? Eye contact, body language. Listening is the key to success. Listen more, talk less, and just absorb. Like, it got to the point when I first started working for Bedros, and I'm going to pull this up, I know I shouldn't, I was going like this. When he would talk, I'd be doing this. And he's like, "What are you doing?" One day he ripped the phone out of my hand. I said, "I'm taking notes." He's like, "Bro, you got this thing called voice memo." So now I just hit record and I record the message and I go back. But what I do, that's my audio that I listen to when I drive.
Oh, nice.
And I dissect it. So I have like 100 of them. How to make more money, how to do this, how to close a sale, how to do this, how to do this.
I love that.
I learned from the best. And
awesome.
Then what I do is I'll listen to this for a while. And then Bedros sits on his white couch in his big office and goes, "Go." And I sell him. And he's like, "No." It's like, "Here you go. Garbage. Do it again, airborne." That's exactly what it's like.
Oh my God.
2 weeks of learning how to fall down. All I'm doing is learning how to do whatever it is he wants me to do. But I love it. I mean, I get flustered. I get frustrated. Calm down, Ray. But what? And he's an asshole. But he has to be. But he does it because he loves me and he's making me better. He's not doing it in front of people.
No, of course not.
Right?
Yeah.
It's in enclosed space. Sometimes he'll video me to watch me get flustered. And it's just like, but these are $1 million lessons that people could do.
Yeah.
And the biggest advice I could say, if you have fear to do something, do it.
Yeah.
Like public speaking. 90% of the world scares, like, there's people that talk shit, they won't get on these. Get on it.
Yeah.
Attack it.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? You're going to suck, but you can.
That's the thing.
When I first spoke, I did so bad that Jason Redman said, "Hey man, you can't get any fucking worse." I'm like, "Okay, we've got a starting point, right?
No place to go but up."
But after like 20 of them, compared to his 400, he's like, "Dude, you're just not even the same animal."
It's so true. And sometimes there's a common, I think, for a lot of people, it's that fear.
Yeah.
That really holds everybody down. And it's the fear of so many things. Fear of failure, fear of being shamed, fear of not living up to somebody's expectation. There's all this fear that is preventing you from actually enjoying your life. I found that speaking in front of students was work. It was work, and I looked at it like work. But when I started to do it for my own self-worth, when I started to do it as a business, I found it to be incredibly enriching to me. It brought me joy. And so that period where I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not happy with doing this. And it wasn't that I wasn't happy doing it in the Navy, but when I transitioned out of the Navy, I didn't want to do what I was doing in the Navy. I wanted to do something else. But then I found myself doing what I did in the Navy, and I looked at it from a different perspective. Now I'm doing this now for me, whereas back then I did it for the mission. Mm-hmm. Now I'm doing it for me, and I'm doing it for my own self-growth, and it brings me happiness and it brings me joy. So the biggest encouragement I have for people is like, what's the worst that can happen?
You're gonna fall down, get back up. I did a video podcast with Nick Bear not too far ago, and I tell people, man, and I say it over and over again, I fail all the time.
Yeah.
But I won't quit, right? This is the one thing, failure is not an option. If you are physically, mentally, emotionally redlining yourself, you will fail. So I fail all the time. My wife brought up an amazing point. She said, you only win and learn in life. You only lose if you quit. I'm not a quitter. And the best advice I can give any human being is if you haven't quit, don't start. And if you have, don't do it again. So and true. People say it's not that easy. The fuck it's not. My wife watched one episode of Joel Osteen. God bless Mr. Joel, and she stopped smoking. He literally gave her a tool to do it. You can program yourself to do anything, but it all starts with believing in yourself. She believed she could do it versus you see it all the time with people like with shooting. They can't hit the broadside of a barn. Hey, listen, you got to believe in yourself, got to believe in the trigger finger. Next thing you know, boom, they're fucking wide earp shooting, right?
So true. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So, you are building a legacy in your career and your path that you're taking right now.
Trying.
You're doing it. I'm here to tell you that.
Thank you, brother.
What does the future hold for you? We've talked about your past and your present, but what about your future? What are you looking at? What's on the horizon?
Man, if we're going to make fun of it and then I'll get serious, I want statues made of me because I've made such an impact on this world. But my future is obviously with my family is I want to be the best father, husband, provider, protector, lover to my wife. And I don't mean that like in a derogatory way that I can. As far as myself, I want to be as fit as I can for as long as I can. And for the legacy, carrying on the legacy, I honestly think like I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you talk. I know your girl's name, but I'll say I'm not going to say your lady's name on the air if you don't want me to.
It's totally fine.
So my wife made an impact in my life.
Yeah.
There have been, I know your girl is not the only woman you've ever been with.
Yeah.
There have been many others.
Yeah.
So how I look at things and how I am and what I want to do is I call it the meteorite. All the women and all the things in your life that you forget about were meteor showers and they burnt up in the atmosphere. But every now and then, this one fucking meteor, whatever that pertains to, right? The symbolism, your girl, your children, your whatever.
Yeah.
They're so big, so powerful that they come through, they don't burn off, and they hit the earth, and the earth, the symbolism is you, and they make an impact. I want to be that fucking meteor right now in father and sons.
Yeah.
I do corporate training and I do this 75-hour program, and I am focusing on building a new generation of men who are actually old school, who believe in opening a car. Old school is the best school.
I love it.
And being a protector, being a provider, being a hunter, being a gatherer, but also being loving, kind, nourishing. In order to be a man, you have to be the whole fucking package. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Being a husband, being a father, being a warrior, being anything that has a title, it's a fucking privilege.
Without a doubt.
It's not a given. You're not, just because you're a man, you're right. This is what I tell the young men, and I don't mean I got to be careful when I say this. Just because you have a dick doesn't mean you're not a pussy. And people go, what's that mean? But let me refer what a pussy means, right?
Excuse me.
It means if you're not treating women with respect, if you're losing your temper, if you're bullying people, if you're not a man of your word. My definition of a pussy is someone who is not withholding that obligation of what whatever being a male role model in society is. I get a lot of kickback from that, but when I explain it to a woman, they're like, wow. So she's like, well, what do I have? I'm like, you're a woman. Just so you know, you have the greatest honor on planet Earth. Every human being has come through your legs into this fucking world.
Yeah.
So men, you better treat your women like queens. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I love my wife. Like, you and I can have words. You can tell me on this and that. I'll be fine. But as soon as someone talks to one of my girls, just like, there's a whole different me, because I owe that to her, because she is my queen, and she is what makes the world go around with me. My job as a man is to protect and provide, but my job as, like I said, I want to be the legacy god. I want to leave such a big impact that literally, when I die, people are going to be using my techniques and my raw, I guess, enthusiasm to make a difference. Like, I want to be the most contagious fucking thing on planet Earth. That's it.
That to me matters. That's impacting, and that's why I love that question, because, you know, if you maintain the same trajectory, there's no reason why that can't happen.
Yeah,
that's the key.
I won't let anything steer me off course. Nothing. Nothing.
You know, I'm so glad that you brought up the ladies, because, you know, I am very grateful that, and I don't, Jamie, I talk about her on the show.
You have no business being with her. She's so hot.
Pretty much. Pretty much, you know, but you know, I feel, and I know that this is probably a taboo subject of sorts in today's world, but I'm talking about it from my perspective, from how it has impacted me. But she has brought to me a sense of balance. She has created, you know, like the yin and yang that you mentioned earlier. She has brought that balance to me that was lacking or not complete. And when I hear you talk about being the provider and the protector, or I hear you talking about old school, or I hear you talking about you know, the little things that men of lure did for their ladies, you know, that is an important thing to me to see passed down to future generations of men, because I feel like we've lost a little bit of that in today's society, and that matters to me. I want my sons to treat their ladies in the way that I look and treat my lady. I want them to do that, because it's not because it's what their dad did, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think the world's it's distorted. Like, case in point, right? When I was a kid, you get pulled over a police officer, you turn off the car, you roll down the windows, you put your hand out, and you just, yes sir, look at me, boy, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, right? And you got yelled at and all off. Nowadays, my favorite videos were the one where the police officer told the lady, if you get out of the car, I'm going to tase you. He told her this 3 times. She got out of the car, he tased her, and she acted surprised. But my point is people just don't respect the things that they used to respect, and it infuriates me. Like, when a police officer pulls me over now, I got that new Dodge TRX, and sometimes I drive fast. He's like, oh, this isn't this first time. I'm like, no, sir, my stepfather's a police officer, and I do a lot for the veteran and LEO community. He goes, is that supposed to get you out of a ticket? I said, no, I'm just talking to you man to man. And then usually we talk and I get out of it unless I'm doing something crazy. And then I thank them. I mean, I've even gotten a ticket from a police officer before and said, thank you.
Yeah.
Guys like, are you being a smart ass? I'm like, no, thank you.
For your job.
Thank you for doing what you couldn't pay me $1 million to do.
No doubt.
Like, I brought up, I have a lot of friends that are in the NFL. I just talked to one of my buddies from the Buffalo Bills today, and I said, LEOs, school teachers, military, they should be getting NFL salaries.
Yeah.
They should be getting salaries, and they should be commended on what they do, instead of, like, teachers now are scared to even tell kids to stop doing something because they're going to get sued. Here's what I tell parents. If you don't like the school system, homeschool. Yeah. Quit your job and homeschool.
There's an option.
It is a privilege to have teachers out there doing. It's a privilege to have law enforcement. It's a privilege to have people that put on the cleats of freedom, no matter what it is, and defend this great effing nation. I won't F with this. That's why I've got the flag tattooed on me. And if we don't change something soon, I honestly think America, we're just going to implode.
Well, it's so true. And I think Abraham Lincoln said it that America will bring the only thing that can bring down America is herself.
Yep.
Our own people. And my hope too, my one sincere hope is that projects and programs that that you are involved in, that you are doing, become the norm, become more popular, become kind of like the framework for future generations of men. And I hate to say it, but it's almost going to take like a lot of that to happen before we kind of correct our course from where we're at. Because the other thing too that people really don't realize is that we didn't get here overnight. It took decades for us to get here, and the work that you're putting in is going to affect people in this little group that will hopefully expand to this bigger group that will hopefully expand to this bigger group, but that's going to take time. That's going to take time. I got on that rant because I wanted to ask you another question, but now I want to ask you a different question because you said something earlier, and I was like, ooh.
I'm all over the fucking place. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. So my question to you, and it was like about 4 or 5 minutes ago that you said this, or that you were on the subject. What are your thoughts if, like, 17-year-old Ray were here right now? Mm-hmm. Would 17-year-old Ray join the Navy in today's Navy, in today's situation? Or
would 17-year-old Ray have to get the COVID shot?
Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know exactly where they stand right now on.
I don't either, but this is what I do know. I am in charge. Listen, we all stood in line getting the shots and the shots and shots and shots. 17-year-old Ray doesn't like the path of things or the way things are going with the military and society. I don't know what the 17-year-old Ray would do. Back then, 17-year-old Ray was honored to be a part of something. But I think things were held on a different spectrum and a different level and a different platform back then. Like, it was an honor just to join the Navy. Like, it was a privilege. Now it's like it's people. And again, I know for me, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I was voluntold to do it, but I was looking at the military anyway. But instead of waiting a year, I literally said, hey, I need to leave in 2 weeks. And they were like, okay. So, but I honestly don't know how to answer that question. If I had to take the COVID shot, no. I will not let someone mass produce something without test and it's been proven to hurt people, put in my body. Now, with that being said, if I was a 17-year-old who had no other options and had to provide for a family, fucking inject away. Yeah. Because I'm a man that will provide for my family. But if I had options, probably not, no.
The question I think was, and we could take the COVID scenario or COVID situation out of the scenario and just looking at the military in general. Would you feel comfortable joining the military now?
I would still want to be a Navy SEAL, yes. Yeah. Because even though we've tried to do a couple things I don't agree with some things, and I'm not going to get into that, their reputation, their legacy, their hall rep, which is, just their reputation as a whole, is something that I wouldn't be a part of. I would join any brand. I love the Air Force. I love, actually, truth be told, when I first started, I wanted to be a PJ.
Nice.
But they were like, you're not even in a fucking ballpark with the brains. But then that's when I read the pamphlet about Navy SEALs, and I was like, this is, I was drawn to it, man. I used it I was like, that's it. Yeah. And when he told me I couldn't do it, I was like, that's just someone else in my life telling me I can't do something. I'm going to prove him wrong. And like I said, I loved proving people wrong. Now I love proving myself right. I
love that change, by the way. That little, I know it's subtle, but it's empowering. And with regards to the Navy, my if somebody asked me the same question, which that question was a question that was posed by one of the members of the AR15.com forum. So we posted up on the forum, hey, who's got questions for Ray? And that was one of the questions. Would he join the Navy? Would he join today's Navy? And the way before I even was willing to ask you that question, I had to ask myself that question and answer my own question. I didn't feel like I didn't want to bring that question on the air if I wasn't willing to answer that question.
What the fuck was your answer, motherfucker?
Same.
Yeah,
I would do it. I would do it too because and my reasonings were, I didn't understand. Like, 17-year-old Jeff joining the Navy wanted to do it because he wanted to be the very best that he could be. And that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. Yeah. I would still want to do it. And I tell people this as well. Change happens from within. Yeah. So if I'm not happy with the Navy, I can bitch and moan about it, or I can, raise in the ranks to a position of power, a position of authority, and make changes. That's my option too. So, 17-year-old Jeff wanted to be the very best that he could be. That wouldn't change.
And my mission statement, or the commander's intent has not changed since I was 17.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still want to be the best. So if, depending on my options, like I went to community college. College wasn't for me. I'm not opposed to college. I think there are certain professions where you need to go to college.
Without a doubt.
But for me, I was like, it's a no-brainer. Military will pay for me to go to college. I can try something. My goal is to be a Navy SEAL. All I got to do is work hard, and I can, as long as I don't get injured, I can do this.
Yeah.
I get three meals. I get a place to sleep, and
it was
I
nice.
get a paycheck. I was like, this, dude. I remember I used to get like $300 every 2 weeks, and I thought that was awesome back in the.
I had a married roommate. So on the weekends,
always gone.
He was gone. At the end of the day, he was always gone. I had the place to myself. I was like living like a king, man. I was awesome. I mean, I look back at that time period, and I know that it impacts everybody a little differently, but to me, oh man, dude, I loved that. I did. I enjoyed it. It was hard as hell. It challenged me in ways that I never thought I'd be challenged. Like I knew, you're going in there, you're going to be challenged, but it doesn't really, like, it's just, you don't appreciate it until you experience the challenge.
And for me, I guess it's the answer is an easy yes, because I'm super compartmentalized. I'm not a very big, I don't focus on religion. I don't focus on politics. I just focus on the task at hand. And the task at hand at 17 and now is I want to be the best. Yeah. And at the time, I was told Navy SEAL training is the hardest training on planet Earth. Yep. And again, for all you other guys, I know your training's hard as shit, but that's what I was told by the recruiter. And then when he told me I couldn't do it, man, I got a raging hard on. I was like, oh yeah, this is
what I need. Bring it.
But it was like I walked into my destiny.
Yeah.
I literally, it like smacked me in the face going into the recruiters over at Westminster, Maryland. I mean, I've gone back there a couple times and they got a picture of me up there. Like I'm a poster, like, will you sign it? I'm like, you're damn right I will.
Yeah.
I am proud. I am proud of the Navy made me who I am, but that was infused, that's incorporated with the pain.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
And what you always hear me say when I do these courses and everything is, I tell people this, you're welcome. I have another book I want to write called You're Welcome. You're welcome for the pain and the honesty and the nastiness that I bring to the table. And I won't apologize.
Well, first of all, that's who you are. Why would you apologize for who you are?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. You said something earlier, and I wanted to comment on it too. Like when somebody, during Veterans Day, when everybody's thanking you for being a veteran, my comment has always been the same, which is it was always my honor. Yeah. It's always my honor to serve, to be to walk amongst giants and be amongst legends and to do the job and to do it and to be challenged and to continue to be challenged. There's a legacy that I think we all carry with us, which is to continue to lead in our own ways, even outside of the military service. And I'm grateful for that lesson that I learned early on. A couple more questions here. Let me ask you this one. This is going to be a good one.
Oh, God.
Yeah. How do you deal with failure?
Not well. Not well at all, man.
Yeah.
Shit. You got me up
Save
against
the best for last.
Fuck, I knew it was going to come. How do I deal with failure? Well, failure with me is all about decision making. It's a 3-step process for me. I ask, make, and take, right? Ask what's the problem, make a decision. Ask, make, and then I take action. In the SEAL teams, we used to say analyze, assess, execute.
Yeah.
Right? So what I do is when I fail at something, I ask, okay, what was the original, outcome of what I did? Then what I need to do is I need to make a decision on, am I going to, and I will, how can I reattack this, right? Because there's a million ways. Listen, if there's a million ways to skin a fucking cat, I'm going to skin it a million ways till I skin it. And then the key element to this is I take action. I'll put it in perspective. One of the only courses I fucking failed, I hate telling team guys this, free fall jump master.
Oh, wow.
JMPI's got me. So that's where you have to do these checks on individuals. And back in the day, we didn't have the dummies. We had live people. That's what they did. I don't know when you went through, but at Yuma, that's what I had. I didn't have a dummy. I had a live person.
Yeah.
And I failed. And I studied my ass off. And I was told that I was going to go right back and fucking do it. Well,
Yeah.
I worked under Doc Fullerton, who was a legend in the SEAL
my
teams.
God.
And Mike Fullerton said, you know what? I'm going to send you back after you go to SEER school. Shit. Like, I mean, which I'll go to any school you want, but it ended up taking me 6 months to go back. And so he was like, what are you going to do different than you did last time? I said, well, senior, I wasn't drinking. I wasn't going out on the weekends. I'm just going to have to, now that I have understand, proper fit, 2 screws, snap, shackle, ring. I still know it all.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to retain as much as I can, go back and just work harder. Because he said, if you don't make it again, don't come back to the platoon because you're going to lose. You tried it.
Oh, wow.
So I had to ask, okay, what did I fail on? I had to make a decision. What am I going to do, right? And it was like when the guys wanted to go to Coronado or do something, nope. Not even like on the free weekend that I had, nope. And then I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to pass this course. Shit you not, when I spun the guy around for the combat equipment, he fucking fell down. I jumped right on him and kept going. It was like I rodeoed him, but it's a true story. But I don't deal with it well, and I'll tell you why, because I'm my best and my worst critic.
Without a doubt.
And if you are, I am relentless and ruthless with myself. Man. I demand perfection, and I know there's no such thing.
Yeah.
But I accept progression.
Yeah.
Right? I demand, I want, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? I want to be perfect. No one's perfect. But I'm hard on myself. I mean, I talk to myself sometimes in a third fucking person. I pace.
Yeah. Dude.
Sometimes I'll go up and, I'm not getting in the fetal position crying like in the shower, but I'm really hard on myself. But what I like to do that helps me is I write like how I'm feeling, my emotions, energy level. And then what I try to do is I journal a lot, right? So if I fail at something, what I do is I'll look back like a week and see if there's anything I fucking changed from the week before. Am I eating something different? Am I going to bed different times? Am I doing this? Because we are creatures of habit by nature. And we have a rhythmic pattern for success and failure.
Yeah.
So like if I'm eating out a lot, then right, I'm not going to be making the right, the quick thoughts. If my sleep's off, if I'm not getting some good loving from mama because,
when you pissed her off again?
Well, yeah, but when a man is satisfied, he is running on different cylinders, better cylinders. So all I do is I look, okay, what led up to this? Was it lack of preparation? Was it lack of this? Was it lack of that? And then all I do is I take that date and I go, okay, it's got to be accomplished by this day.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I'm not doing this, this, and this. And I will fucking attack that hill. That's my I attack the hill mindset. I attack it. And I will keep attacking this fucking hill until I pass it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'll fail some. I fail all the time.
Yeah.
I want to make that very clear to everybody. You will fail.
Yeah.
You failed, I failed.
Yeah.
The difference between, and I'm going to just use team guys because I'm looking at one right now, is we just don't quit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times when I should have thrown in a towel and I just won't quit.
Yeah. Man, dude, I tell you, one of the things that I try to get across to people is like, quitting is an option. Quitting is a choice. You make that choice. When I saw the kids that were looking to ring out, I had a choice as an instructor. I could try to talk to them and see what was, could I persuade them maybe to change their mind?
I won't do it.
And I will tell you, I never did.
And you shouldn't.
And it was funny because there were some kids that I liked. It's hard, you get to know them in that, we had 10 weeks in third phase to get to know these kids. And some of them I had high aspirations that they were going to make good team guys. And it's a snap decision perhaps on my part, but then they do something and, whatever happens, and then they're quitting. And
quit in training, die in battle.
Well, it's true.
I'm not going to have it.
I got to the point where I do not want to influence their decision for that reason because I will not be there with them in the times that I need them to hold the line. So I changed my perspective on that. And I'm glad that I did because I feel like that produced a better product. And I always felt like, my job there at the center was a gatekeeper. I was responsible for who made it through to the next stage.
Yeah.
So I took that really seriously, sometimes too seriously. I understand. I got in trouble many times. But and it's funny too. I got a Mike Fullerton story. I got to tell you, I love that guy. Oh my God, I loved him. He was a first class at this time. But he was responsible for all of the medical training that we went through during STT. And he was at 4 when I was there. And I remember we were doing the IV training. And we were in the classroom there at SEAL Team 4. And we had, stations set up with guys and you would stick one another and then whatnot, and everything's going great, right? My guy comes in, he sticks me, he gets everything he needs, it's running. Mike looks at it, he gives him the okay, you're good to go. Give it about 5 minutes, pull it out, and then you rotate. So when it was my turn to rotate, and you practice a couple times, before you get a chance to do this, but we didn't have all the cool toys or tools, I should say, they have now, like the real facade, the actual bodies top. So when it was my turn, and my guy was a corpsman too, so I was like, oh, fuck, I got the corpsman. He's going to nail me. I'm not going to have any issues, right? So
big veins.
Yeah, when it was my turn, he's sitting there, and I remember his name, Dave Holmdahl. He's sitting there, and the power goes out the team area, and it's dark, and we all stop. We're just stopped, and Mike was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I know.
What are you guys doing? We're like, well, there's no light. He's like, oh, I see. You're only going to operate in the daytime. I get it. You're never going to have to stick somebody at night. Shit. So that was probably the most painful sticks that Dave ever had to do, be a subject for. I must have missed him like 3 times. And Mike is over there watching me. That's not helping, by the way. And he's like, yep, this is going to suck for your guy. He's watching me the whole time. And then finally I can't remember what he said to me. He said something, and it was like a cue to remind me about how to do the angle. I think it was the angle that I was taking to get the needle in wasn't the right angle. And he just cued me to that. And poof, got it. Easy day. Got the splash, set it up. Everything was good. And after that, he's like, he had everybody, he was like going round. He was like, you couldn't do your stick until he came to you in the little circle. So when the lights went out, he was on me. So as he gets up to move to the next guy, the lights come back on. So I was the only one who got a stick in the middle of the dark. And so he came up to me and he's like, you have no idea how valuable that was for you and how much that's going to help you in the future. I know that everybody didn't get a chance to do it. And, you sucked at it. That was the other thing he said. He's like, you sucked at it, but it was so incredibly valuable. And after that, man, I every time I saw him, I always remembered that little vote of confidence that he gave me to being able to stick. Because, that's not an easy thing, sticking somebody with an IV. But so ever glad.
He was my platoon chief.
No way.
And I have an IV story that I'll tell you offline because they probably shut you down here.
Okay, fair enough.
It. But
fair
bottom
enough.
line, I'll leave it at this and let the audience think. If you have a big vein anywhere, you can stick an IV in it.
Yeah.
And it will go black.
Fair enough.
I still have the picture.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, let's start wrapping things up.
Yeah.
I got one final question.
All right.
Here it is. You thought the last one was hard. What is the biggest takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
Ooh. Well, it's kind of a 2-part thing. Number one is you have to believe in yourself. This journey is only going to happen if you believe in yourself. I know society, everybody thinks they have friends and they have supporters, but when the lights go off and someone's got to do the stick, let me use this, it's just you.
Yeah.
It's just you, right? No one's there to help you. And the one commonality that we all share on planet Earth, and this is why I love it, is pain. And no matter what pain you're going through, you're not alone. And depending on what pain it was, it may not have been your fault. And the one thing that I can wholeheartedly express is do not allow your past to dictate who you are or what your future will be. If horrible things happen to you, that does not give you the right to be a vessel to harm others. That should be 100%. The wake-up call for you to be the vessel that helps other people. That's what happened to me. Like, I took the beatings and the abuse and all the physical and mental and emotional and all the other abuses there are so that I feel like I was doing the world a service by doing that. My goal is to make sure as many people as I can reach out to, touch, and whatever. I know guys like touch, yeah, many people as I can physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually touch. I want them to pass that word around and know that if horrible things happen to you, it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. I don't blame anybody on planet Earth if they've had a shitty upbringing and if they're not where they want to be. But after listening to this podcast, right, with Jeff, if you don't make change, I hold you 1,000% accountable for who you are, where you are in your life, and why you're not where you want to be. Because change happens by getting up off your ass and creating motion, movement, and change. Doing nothing, sitting on the couch, all that's going to do is put unwanted weight on your ass. And I will tell you this, the worst thing a person can have is time to think. I don't think, true. I do. Yeah. I think in small blocks, small chunks, and then I attack. I attack everything I have. Micro, macro goals, I attack. Once that's over, I do it again. I do it again. I do it again. I do this every day. And I'm going to finish up with this. Average human being has 18 to 20, depending on what you're doing, 18 to 16 hours a day to do two things, because average human sleeps 6 to 8 hours, give or take. You can either kick ass or get your ass kicked. I've had my ass kicked most of my life, and I'll tell you this right now, I don't like it. I prefer to kick ass, but I'm doing it with dignity and style, and I'm making that impact. I don't want to be impressive. Impressive is you're going to forget who she is. You're going to forget who that person was in 2 months. Making an impact is affecting someone's life in such a manner that when the shit hits the fan, they are going to think you. I get it all the time. Ray, when I was down on my luck, I heard your voice going, come on, motherfucker, one more. I love that. Or, hey, don't be a bitch, be the bitch. Right? People go, what's that mean? Being a bitch is calling you a bitch.
Yeah.
But being the bitch is you become intellectually sound, trainable, communicator, and hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Become the bitch of your life and stop being a bitch.
Love that. Oh, hell yeah.
And that's not pertaining to women. That's everybody on planet Earth, because I love and hate everyone equally. Because
I love that part too.
My wife is like, do not call me a bitch. I'm like, can I call you the bitch? She's like, no.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, where can people learn more about you and the programs that you're involved in?
Yes.
All this stuff.
All right. So the two main hubs are on Instagram, raycashcare.com. I got the blue check, and the reason I say that is because there's a lot of fake accounts out there.
For sure.
You can hit me up at raycashcare.com, and you can book me for certain things. If you're interested in my 75-hour program, the fully immersive Kicking the Balls, this is for men only. I apologize. It would be mdkproject.com/ horizontal / not dash / Ray, our father-son program, which is for males. And we also will provide a male role model for a single mom if she doesn't have one.
Love that.
For your son between the ages of 11 and 16 is Squire, SQUIRE program.com. Do I need to do the Sierra? Do I need to do that? Or
No,
okay.
No.
And then last is I do my corporate training. We come to companies and we give a rated PG version of the XXX, the rawness of the project, and we make companies and communities shoot, move, and communicate, be the tier 1 operator, and learn how to incorporate, right, the 3 L's of leadership, which are lead, listen, and learn, teamwork, problem solving, leadership, communication. It goes on, and that falls under the LTD. That's Lima Tango Delta LTD. Lima. Sorry, making sure I got it. Training.com, the LTDtraining.com.
Love it.
That's how you found me, Jeff.
I love it. Okay. All right, folks. Well, that's a wrap. I want to thank you, Ray, for coming on the show. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the support that we've been getting. I want to thank the sponsors, and I want to thank the men and women holding the line. Check all the previous podcasts by visiting thebulletproofworkshop.com. You can learn more about me and training opportunities by visiting tridentconcepts.com. Until then, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, and you're listening to the Bulletproof Workshop podcast. Take care and stay safe.